You are tired of average. You want more out of life. You know you're capable of something greater. This show will help you become resilient in your home, at work, and in your community. Welcome to the Resilient Humans Podcast with your host, Kevin Wood. Hey, welcome back, Resilient Humans Podcast. And we have a guest that I'd like to welcome back who needs no introduction. But if this is your first time hearing him, you're in for a special treat. Mark England, co-founder and head coach of Enlifted, a mindset coaching program that certifies coaches worldwide and has literally changed thousands of lives through a deceptively single focus. And it's your words. He's a TEDx speaker, a former fighter, a guy who's once taught elementary phys ed. Same here. Before pioneering a global movement around language, story, and breath. This is Mark's fourth time on Resilient Humans, which we just talked beforehand is a record. He's never appeared on a single podcast more than 4 times. And every single conversation we have leaves me thinking differently about how I talk to myself. Mark England, welcome back to the show.
Can you introduce me to all my podcasts that I go on?
Man,
that was
it's
great.
Funny you say that because it was Adam. It was so funny. Adam Chin said the exact same thing.
Did he?
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad to be back.
It's great. This is awesome. Now we're a little off of our every 39 episodes, but it's damn close.
Yes.
You had a little thing pop up that kind of derailed the streak train, but we're all good. We're back on track.
Did I tell you about that little thing?
I think you were mentioning that you were going to mention it on this episode. You're like, oh, make sure you remind me to tell you that story.
Yeah, the Hawaii story.
This is the Hawaii story. Let's open it up. Hot open.
Oof, dude. Okay. So, I'm driving down the road, minding my own business. This is relevant to our tech. On a road trip down to Texas from Virginia. And so the plan was drive down to, this is the first time I've talked about this on a podcast, and it's somewhat recent. It's take out the somewhat. Driving down to Texas from Virginia, gonna get into Austin on a Friday, do a workshop on a Saturday, do Danny Morell's podcast. It's a big podcast on Monday, and then Tuesday through Saturday go shoot with my guys, the guys I do the gun training with. And that was the plan, and then turn around and drive home. So it's 2 weeks. About that. Less. And so I'm pulling out of a Buc-ee's. You don't know what a Buc-ee's is? Look it up. Gas station. BUCCEES. It's an experience. It's something else. That's a whole other podcast. And I get a text from a girl that was my date for a wedding that I was officiating in Mexico in May.
That was recent too, yeah.
Yeah, April, yeah. And I've known her a while. And it says, call me, please. It's urgent. 11 years. 11 years is, take out a while and put in 11 years. And in that amount of time, I have never gotten a text like that from her before. So I'm at a stoplight pulling onto the interstate. And I call her. And she picks up. And I go, hey, baby, how you doing? What's going on? You okay? She goes, I'm pregnant. And I go, hold on. And I get onto the interstate and get in the middle lane and hit cruise control. And I said, say that again? She goes, I'm pregnant. Now, Here it Enlifted, we talk about the importance of low and slow breathing quite a lot. Would you agree with that, Kevin Wood, level two
I've also heard you
coach?
talk about the concept of puckered assholes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that right there. So for some context, everybody, freedom is my currency of choice. I do not have a wife. I do not have an ex-wife. I don't have any kids. Um, I don't own a house. My name hasn't been on a lease anywhere on the planet since 2001. Okay. Let me keep going. I own very little things. I don't have any debt. Not that I had any control. My business is online, all of it. The whole thing's online. Um, and not that I had any control in this. And uh, if anyone, both of my parents have passed, and if anyone has ever been a caregiver to a parent, an ailing parent, you know what I'm talking about. That's a special kind of your ass ain't going nowhere. If you're gonna you know be that for them. And this girl lives the same way. She's extremely free. And so she said that a second time, I'm pregnant. And I get extra loose in my body and get my breath even lower and slower due to the fact that I do think about my thinking and have made some improvements on the story that I tell myself, which is the enlifted definition of mindset, as in I use my words better than I do now than before I knew to 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 focus on them. And I've picked up the pen and written out, you know, the scariest stories that I've ever had and aired them out four stepping. So, I'm just better. And so I get my breath low and slow. This story's just getting started, by the way. And and I wait for the fear, Kevin Wood. The fear, the resistance, the blah 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 blah. And it didn't show up. 35, 30, I don't even know. 30 seconds, 45. It wasn't a minute. And then I go, you got me. I'm in. Let's do this. And so we talked for maybe another hour. I get to Austin, do my weekend, and on Monday I start making phone calls. I call my stepmom first. I call Adam Chin second. I call Kim Kesting third, and then a couple other people for logistical reasons. And then I buy a one-way ticket out to Hawaii. And so I peel out of that gun training 3 days early. And I would have gone right then and there. I just had classes to teach um, for some current level ones. And so I fly out to Hawaii and we get an Airbnb, very secluded up in this cloud forest. Fucking cool, man. I've been to Hawaii once. It is as advertised. It's extremely dynamic, super beautiful. Um, we start having all the conversations, the hard ones, logistics, um, you know, relation before logistic relationship conversations. You know, uh, we were not partnered up, and just some very direct conversations. And I used our magic there too. So the definition of magic, everybody, is the ability to apparently alter the course of events using supernatural forces. It's not the ability to do it; it's the apparent ability. And when you can control things that most people pay zero attention to, as in one, how fast are you talking? If you're having some crucial conversations with someone, slow down your rate of speech. Okay. 10% is a big deal for a variety of reasons. One, you will loosen your breath. So, what does that mean? You'll use your words better. And if you're breathing better, then you're listening better. That's an important part of it, too. And then you'll also give yourself that extra crucial half of a second to to put your words together well. And you add all those things up and you're going to have a better outcome than if you talked real fast and real loud with your breath trapped in your chest. That shit don't work too good for anybody involved. Yeah, two people having monologues instead of a dialogue. And um, yeah. What's and so we're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. What's it going to look like? How's it going to look? How's this affect? Just start talking about all the things that this affects, and and life proceeds. And over the coming days, and this girl's so cool. She's beautiful, super cool. Different than me in a lot of ways, similar to me in a lot of ways. She'd say the same thing about me. I mean, she said it. She's like, "You're an attractive man, but you're not my type." Um, and it was just some of the stuff that uh, ways I see the world and operate in it and things. And she's right. And the days proceed, and the things coming together slowly but surely. And there's moments, of course. Um, I mean, we basically take out the basically just get welded together, and here's your life now. Oh, by the way, you're adding someone to the conversation in 9 months, 7.5, 8. So get ready. um, and over the coming days, the the uh, the story is it's coming together, and we're the vibe is getting lighter, and then even lighter, and then brighter, and just the whole thing. We're seeing how this is going to work. Um, and then she miscarries. Yeah. Uh, so we got the chessboard flipped, and then as we're in an emotional haze, start putting the pieces back together, and then that bitch gets flipped again, and then it's a whole other set of emotions and feelings. Um, 3 days in, I was like, "Hey, let's start with girlfriend. You want to be my girlfriend?" She's like, "Yes." Cool. Okay. So now we've got there's some bookends on this thing. Um, she still is, and yeah, we're gonna see what happens. And and so yeah, that's a I've woken up exactly one morning in my adult life crying about something, not boo-hooing, streaming. There's a difference. I'm a streamer. Very rarely do I heave. Okay, I heaved once when my dad passed. All the other emotional releases with that and damn near everything else is just I'll sit there and breathe. Okay, we can talk about that too because there's a difference between evolution and revolution when it comes to our feelings, our emotions and feelings and energy. I'll just I'll leak water out of my face. And and yeah, that I woke up streaming about that. Never done that before. And once that emotional smoke cleared, which took a couple of hours, I was like, what does this really change? Not that much, really, about how I feel about this woman. So let's proceed, which we are. Buddy, I'll put low and slow breathing up against anything out there. Low and slow. Get your breath low and slow and keep it there. Because life, would you agree, Kevin Wood, that life will throw you a curveball from time to time? You're at least getting one. You're at least getting one.
One, one is against the odds.
I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you if you only get one, because then you don't have any data sets. You don't have anything to compare it to. Okay, and that's actually going to be a boring life. Nobody would read a book about somebody's life where, you know, everything was great, and then there was one tragedy, and then everything was great.
That's why the Fast and the
Nah.
Furious have nine seasons
Thank
of it.
you. Thank you. Imagine a roller coaster. Imagine a roller coaster that just does this, and then shh, and then the whole it's just
And then it's
straight, and then
done.
one blip, you'd be like, you'd feel a little cheated. Um, yeah, and it's also, I mean, phew, the pressure gets put on, then you know who you're sitting next to. There's a lot of value in it. And I did I give us both A's, somewhere between A's and A pluses with the whole thing. And she's very much into personal development, and she's got a good story about herself and the world, and herself, and that tends to help. Take out the tens. That tends to help when life puts you in a vice grip like that. You know, those are new stories for both of us.
Well, I have to say, I'm both sorry for your loss and also happy for your gain. So
Yeah.
it's a weird position to be in because it's literally both sides. And as you were describing the story, the picture that came to my mind was, you have this image like you're working on a painting and the painting is your life. And then all of a sudden the painting just goes black. Somebody splashed a whole thing of paint on it. And you're like, all right, guess I'm starting a new painting now. And you're going again. And then, like you said, it got flipped again, just as you had the painting kind of imaged out, like everything was going this. And then, bam, another one in very short succession. So
Yeah.
I can see how that's challenging, frustrating. And like you said, how do you get through those obstacles, changes that happen so quickly that are both maybe within or without your control?
It's the breath, everybody.
Yeah.
It's the breath. And we're big on words. We're known as the language people. That's cool. And we talk about breath a lot. Might as well be known as the language and the breathing people. Push comes to shove, it's about the breathing. It's about the breathing. And we're coming up July. It's nuts. It's July. September 7th, my dad died right over there. And I pronounced him dead in the morning, early in the morning. And all hell broke loose. Uh, and I didn't tell anybody for a week outside of my family. I was on the Power Monkey podcast 4 hours later for a variety of reasons. One, and then I made all my meetings. Um, we had certs running classes and sessions, and um, yeah, I didn't tell any. This happened on Thursday. I told Adam on Tuesday night once we'd gotten through that work block for a couple of reasons. One, I could do that because I did do that. I know how to breathe. And two, that's what my dad would want. Like that guy, he was an entrepreneur most of his adult life. And very rarely are things made better when people lock up. I mean, can you think of a situation? You're a
I was just
longtime
trying to
coach.
think.
When
Just
when does
trying to
shit
think.
get better? When people hold their breath and freak the fuck out.
Like I'm thinking of like athletic competitions, never. Acting scenes, never. It just doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So what does work? Yeah, this is so evolution versus people are we're there's some simple math that you can bet on. Feelings and emotions. Okay, we're built to feel them. You're going to have them. It's good. Uh, Feelings plus emotion. So a lot of people talk about revolution. We need a revolution. Revolve, revolver, revolving door. Revolution. All that shit's coming back around again. It might look a little bit different. History doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes though. Okay. And if you're talking socially, why does it always end up with the guillotine? We need a revolution, and then people, and then it starts all over again. Here's why. Uh, People are pissed off. People are pissing themselves off. Most of what people are mad about externally is they're mad at themselves internally. Okay. So a lot of the stuff we see is just it's the outer layer of an onion of a personal issue. Okay. Collectively expressed. Let me make this more simple. Feelings and emotions plus breath trapped in the chest is the revolution. You're getting it again. It's coming back around again. Feelings and emotions plus low and slow breathing. And I understand it can be challenging. Okay. It's not more challenging than having the same emotional pattern your entire life that gets set up in childhood. Feelings and emotions plus breath low and slow equals an evolution. The thing changes, it evolves, it moves forward instead of revolves. I'm going to do this again. Breath trapped in the chest, feelings and emotions plus breath trapped in the chest equals a revolution. Feelings and emotions plus low and slow breathing equals an evolution. I was working with a woman once who said, I've had the same relationship with five different men. I'm going to say that again. I've had the same relationship with five different men. You know why? Because the same story from her dad was playing in the background. So she was dancing to the same tune. And the story, we can get down to the sentence, the spell. The sentence, the definition of a spell, Webster's not mine, is a word or a combination of words of great influence. Was if my dad had loved us more, everything would have been different. I'm going to do that 3 times. If my dad had loved us more, everything would have been different. If you're listening to this podcast because you're listening to it, Barbie, get a pen and write this sentence down. Yes, Barbie Fagan, that Barbie Fagan. If my dad had loved us more, everything would have been different. And guess what? That's a stressful sentence to think and believe and say and blah, 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 because 2 + 2 = 4. Because 2 + 2 = 4. That sentence is going to create the victim villain dynamic every single time. Okay. If dad's in there, had loved us, we're on the receiving end more. So we're not getting something. Everything would have been different. Everything, the entire world. Cool. And so I had her say that a few times. It's not like she walked in the session and sat down and said, hey, I have a pattern with men and it's coming from this one sentence from my childhood. That's not how this works. You got to go on a treasure hunt. Okay. And it's normally through the theme of whatever it is that they want some help with as an adult, and then you get into the specific memories, specific examples of that theme or those themes, and then you work your way back through an energetic emotional thread to stories from their adolescence and childhood, specific events. You go get those specific events. People do not write those down because they hurt. And you pick up the pen and write, and you're summoning those things. Yeah, you are, to cut the head off. And title it, write it down. And so through those stories of her childhood, we got that sentence. And I had her say it, write it and say it. Or once it was written, I had her repeat it. If my dad had loved us more, everything would have been different. And I had her scratch out us and put in the word himself, which any enlifted level 2 coach, that sentence will very likely have neon lights written around it, because we teach people what words force people to create the villain, the dreaded victim mentality, the victim villain dynamic. And the look on that woman's face changed. You know why? Because her words changed. And if the words change, then the story changes. And that's your mindset. You know what your mindset is, everybody? It's the story you're telling yourself. And you know what that story is made up, everybody? Words. That's where the rubber meets the road with your mindset. I want to work on my mindset. I'm off on a rant and tangent, and I will bring the thing full circle. And yeah, you want a fun exercise? Go ask people that are really big on mindset. What's mindset? Hey, what is it? This thing that you're really big on and you work on, or you need to work on. What is it? Get some popcorn. They're probably going to fumble. They're going to stutter. They're going to have to think about it. They're not going to have a simple answer right off the cuff. Okay? There's hundreds of definitions of mindset. Hundreds, potentially over 1,000 when you get into financial mindset and uh, all the different genres. Your mindset's the story you tell yourself, and that story is made of words. And when you know what it is you're going to work on, oh, and by the way, what it's made of, now you're in the game. If not, you're not in the game. I'm sorry, you're not. You want to be. That's not in question. People's sincerity and desire to improve themselves. Um, yeah, that's not in question. People's ability to work on the thing. Most people think mindset is listening to podcasts on 3x speed and, shit talking yourself through a hard workout with 3 scoops of C4 in your mouth. It's like, that's not mindset. Okay. That's something else. And I'm a fan. I used to drink Ultimate Orange. Remember that? Ultimate Orange and Rip Fuel, and
I was never into pre-workouts.
because you're smarter than I am. So we changed. If my dad had loved himself more, everything would have been different. And so we took them out of the conversation, out of the picture, and it's just him and him. And that woman had a wild emotional response release. Okay. And then we kept repping that sentence with breath. Remember, breath low and slow, the feelings and emotions and everything else can evolve. And then we kept going. So if my dad had loved himself more, everything would have been different. We took out everything and put in he. If my dad had loved himself more, he would have been different. And you could just see the piece eventually, once all that pent up emotion and feeling, which had been in there since those stories happened, those moments of time happened when you see the peace and the relaxation just wash over her. And so her story about her dad, which majorly influenced the story about the men in her life, could evolve. Otherwise, she's going to have the same relationship with 6 different men or 7 different men. Does that sound fun? That sounds like hell on earth.
Mark, have you played Jenga before?
I have. I like Jenga.
What's it feel like when you see the tower really starting to wobble and you know like that next piece it could tumble the whole thing? What's the feeling?
Well, it depends on who's about to tumble it.
Right.
And what it like if I'm feels good when I make a
You
move
know,
and
exactly.
it's yeah.
So the story that you just described,
Yeah,
you pulled that last piece out for her and it allowed that story that she was holding on to crumble. And it happened
correct.
right in front of her. And that's the emotion release. Like, I won. I won. Thanks to you. You pulled out that final piece That's all I needed. Right?
That's a good way to describe it. And that's there's no magic there, everybody, except for the magic of the universe and the of existence. Okay, because I mean, and as far as being able to do, it's a very very fucking cool skill set, in my opinion. It's the ultimate skill set. It's the ultimate self awareness practice. And I'm happy to be wrong, and I'm either right or close. That thinking about your thinking, as in paying attention to the words that you. How else are you going to know thyself? Great, thanks. What the hell does that mean? Versus focus on the words you're using, because that's yourself. That is yourself. The story you tell yourself, that's yourself. And if you want to know more about that, pay attention to your words. If God came down and said the ultimate awareness practice is thinking about your thinking, I'd go, makes sense to me. Because it's if you're going to do that, then well, you're going to have some insights. Let's just say that. Yeah,
Speaking of Barbie Fagan,
yeah.
she
We
actually
we, we got
messaged
to
me,
talk about her. Did she?
and one of the things that she brought up was one. I talked about this in one of a former episodes, and I use this in my speech that I give. I call it the marble analogy or visualization technique. And so I have everybody in the room close their eyes and imagine that they're going into their laundry room, and in their hand is a bucket of marbles, and they open up their dryer and they put the bucket of marbles in the dryer. They close the door and they turn the dryer on high. What are the emotions? What are the feelings that are coming up right now? Imagine the sounds, imagine the feelings. What do you have? And oftentimes people will say chaos, destruction, stress, my wife's going to kill me, like all these negative emotions, right? You just broke my dryer. Now, what you have the option to do is push pause, open the door, take one of those marbles out, and that marble represents your thoughts. Like you said, it's a revolution. That's what happens when the thoughts stay in your head. They just bounce around your skull over and over and over again, causing all those emotions and feelings that they just described: chaos, destruction, stress, panic, anxiety. They're all the common emotions. Pause, hit the pause button. And when you take that marble out, you're what you're doing practically now is you're looking at it and you can write it down. What does this marble represent? Write it out. Now you have it on paper. You can see it, you can breathe through it, you can change the story, and you have the option not to put that back in your head. You have the option to take that marble and put it aside. And every marble that's causing destruction in your head, or every thought that's causing that chaos in your head, you have the option to push pause, pick up a pen, and write that thought down. And that's how you stop the revolution of destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do, everybody. It's also simultaneously, it's the easiest thing in the world not to do. Pick up a pen and write out your words.
So
To
yeah.
write out your words. Yeah, buddy. So, I used to have a poster up in, uh, well, the college and outside of college, and it was Brad Pitt from Fight Club, and he's sitting there, got his shirt off, he's got a beer and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he's beat up and just happy, right? Sweaty and just wrecked. Um, the post-fight bliss, and it
I
goes,
think every university kid had that poster in their room.
you
So
know what I'm talking about?
I know what I
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It said, "How much can you know about yourself if you've never been in a fight?" And um, yeah, that experience was like getting in a fight, getting punched in the face. That first time you ever get in a fight and get punched in the face, that you figure out you just met a version of yourself. You're like, what the hell just happened? Um, and now what are you gonna do? That was so I met a version of myself, and you can't train for those kind of things, or at least, I mean, you can, and it'll be different when you get that call. You have children, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I wouldn't trade that month of my life for anything, and where it's going to go and what it's going to do for me, even if every like, we're I'm to use such an overused word. I'm fucking grateful, man. I'm grateful. I mean, it got me to look at a bunch of stuff in my life. It stopped the world.
It
Let's say
stopped
that.
your world.
Yeah, it stopped my world. Good one. It stopped my world. Like only that would do. That's what I was going for. There's that's that um yeah, so that was Adam Chin says, he's like, that's why we train. That's why we work on our mindset. Most people start by digging themselves out of a hole. Most people do not start working on their mindset when the sun is out and everything's good and, like, quote unquote, I got this. No, they got a problem. We tell the coaches this all the time. Meeting your client where they're at. That's where the conversation almost always starts. And then after a while, or maybe not a while, working with Kevin Wood, he's gonna get you out of that hole you dug yourself. I might not like to hear that first. That hole you dug yourself quite quickly, and then what? Then there's maintenance. Like it's like getting, and I'm back. It's there's getting in shape and there's staying in shape, right? Why do
Yep.
people stay in shape? Okay, for a long list of reasons. And something happens, you can perform well. So
I see that.
yep, yep,
I see it especially with firefighting. We train constantly. It's always
yep,
training, training, training because and you hope to never have to use the training. That's the hope. I hope I
sure,
never have to use this training. But if it comes up, I'll know what to do. I've
yep,
been there, I've seen that, I've done that. Man, it's a saying like we have an AED machine at the gym. It's the most expensive piece of equipment I hope to never have to use, but we've used it twice. And I'm glad we've had it. And I'm glad we've had training on how to use it. It's the same with this mindset stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So we talk about, in the gym, in firefighting and everything about being our best. Be the best you can be, right? I think that's the Marines. I think that's their saying.
yeah. It's a good thing.
And you've said before that your mission is to be the best mindset coach in the world. What does the best look like for you?
And I'm the words we use are made to be changed and developed. I'm not interested in the best, no mores. Uh, if I was to use the best, I would take out mindset coach and put in teacher. I'm gonna be the best teacher, or at least a damn good one. Which we have evidence of. We just graduated level 3 level 3 verified group number 1 last night. Um, so we're watching this thing evolve, and because the best is an opinion. And having said that, I'll put the enlifted method up against anything out there. Our tech is the best, in my personal and professional opinion, because it's the most simple. It's the most simple. If I could get the belt of, so I've got the option of 2 belts. Uh, the best to ever do it, the best to ever do it, or the best coach ever, or the most simple coach ever. I'll take simple all day long. It's one of our calling cards. In this space, starting with the definition. I mean, it's so easy, and then it's easy to do, and then the ego gets involved, and the ego wants to make things complicated So you got you it's it, the ego likes to make things complicated. The coaching ego, let's get dialed in. The coaching ego likes to know things that other people don't. The coaching ego wants to have all the right answers for their client. It's the original sin of coaching.
Hmm.
The primordial mistake of coaching, the original sin of coaching is thinking, and it's even worse if you want to have the right answers for your clients. It's thinking that you have to have all the right answers for your clients. That's the original sin of coaching.
Do you know where I think that started from?
Let me give me a second.
Because coaching is a fairly new realm. It's not, it hasn't been
I,
around forever.
yeah, I would say that stems from people not knowing where the word coach comes from. The word coach comes from stagecoach. That's what it comes from. And it's taking a person from point A to point B. Okay. They tell you where you want to go. You know how to drive the bus. You take them there. You help them get there. It's not knowing the answers to all their life problems. What's your answer?
Uh, I think it's medicine. I think doctors have led the way of I know more
Interesting.
than you and you need to come see me to get all the answers. And coaches kind of fell in line with that. Oh, you have this problem, I have all the answers. I can solve it for you. That's what doctors do or used to. But now the good ones, the good doctors are the ones that ask more questions. And just like coaches, the good coaches are the ones that ask better questions.
There's a difference, folks, between questions and answers. Big time. Answers push, questions pull. Say it again. Answers push, questions pull. Answers I tell them, questions they tell them. Which one do you think's more powerful? Um, yeah, and then there's also a healthy dose of an inferiority complex in the coaching space.
Yeah.
When it comes to traditional therapies, psychology, psychiatry, uh, therapy. I'll put
Uh,
I've
that goes back to getting, if I just get that one more certification,
yeah.
then I'll know everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we had one of our level 3 coaches say last night, he's like, I'm good. I don't need any more certs. He goes, because I now firmly know, as in I'm comfortable not knowing, asking questions. Because if you look, it's this knockoff effect. If you think you have to have all the right answers, then you got to keep acquiring information. And I'm all about studying and practicing and honing your craft, um, whatever it is. And how much of you know relentless certifications is the fear of not being good enough, thinking that you have to have all the right answers. Those go hand in hand. Um, because you're never going to be good enough if you have to have all the right answers, because you're never going to have all the right answers. That's why it's the original sin of coaching. Um, and yeah, man, it's a drag. It's a bust compared to good breathing and good coaching. I said this last night, and I mean this. Um, I'll take those 20 level 3 grads and put them up against the 20 most accredited psychologists in the United States. Everybody gets 10 clients for 10 sessions, and then there's there's an exit survey. We'll smoke them. Just absolutely wipe the floor with them, embarrass them in how the amount of relief their clients would get, as in our coaches would facilitate, and how far past the stuck and suck they'd get them.
So that goes back to that original question I had. Let's substitute the word best for impactful.
Yeah, okay.
What does impactful look like for you?
Impactful looks like for me, and I think about that from time to time. We have a modest following on Instagram. Um, we're 5,500 followers, so we're not um, we have very little visibility. Um, and there are people out there that make a shitload more money than we do, and those are important metrics for sure when it comes to impact, and they're just they're numbers. They're things to you know pay attention to. Um, and then some other metrics we dunk on those people. I've been doing this 18 years, mindset coaching for 18 years. Back when I started, tell people you're a coach, they're like, "What do you mean, like a volleyball coach?" Right? Um, I'm a dinosaur in this space. And then you look at, and then also how we run our certs is it's very unique. I'm one of the co-founders, and I'm the head coach, and I deliver all of our trainings, all the level ones. So I've had some big names in the space go with that. They're like, "You you deliver the trainings?" Am I back? I've had some big names in the space. I've got Amish internet. I'm at the farm, everybody. Um, there's Amish people on our road and the Amish school. Um, people in the space, like notable people, they're like, you teach the level ones? I teach everything because we're in the badass coach making business. And in my personal and professional opinion, that we're not going to make badass coaches like you or Rachel Nevers or Barbie Fagan with 261 people on a self-paced course with a check-in twice a week with an assistant. That's not how the art of transformational wordsmithing is taught. And so when I think of impact, it's top tier instruction, which comes down to real hours on the clock, my hours with the students. We've got group 51. How wild is that, dude? What level one were you on?
7, maybe.
27.
I
We got
think.
51 happening right now. And there's all kinds of people coming into these certs. There's all kinds of people. There's 10 people per level one max. Because that's how we do it. And so the impact is creating high quality, long-term practitioners of the art of transformational wordsmithing. And I'll put that metric up against any coaching certification out there. I'll put our community up against any coaching community out there. I'll put the Enlifted method up against any tech out there. Dude, there's so many people coming in and taking this in all different kinds of directions. We have our first Catholic priest
Hmm.
in 51. He shows up with the collar. He just read his Billy story for the second time. You know what happens with the last read. Think about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The the idea of impact for me has to coincide with lasting change. And there's a big difference. You can have impact, but if it doesn't last, then what was the point? So when I see it's like the Matrix. Like once And what you've done, you've given me the red pill. I've seen the other side, and I can't unsee it now. I can't unhear soft talk. It just, as soon as I hear it, no matter who says it, myself included, as soon as I hear it, it's like a lightning bolt in my head just flashes. It's like, whoa, 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 that's a warning signal. So that's the impact. That's that when I think of it, that's what I'm seeing. It's just you just can't unsee it. And the first CrossFit seminar I ever did, the level one, it was the same way. It's like, oh, that's fitness. I had it wrong this whole time. I was doing all the wrong things. I can't unsee it now. Like I'm so invested into it. It's just the way it is. And there's very few experiences that I've had. CrossFit was my fitness epitome. Precision nutrition was my nutrition epitome. And now it's enlifted. That was my mindset epitome. Like those are the three. And, to me, that's what shapes true resiliency. You got your fitness dialed in, you got your nutrition dialed in, you got your mindset dialed in. You are a resilient human. There's no doubt about it. If you are deficient in one of those three, you got a chink in your armor that's going to hurt you down the road. You won't know when or how, but it's going to hurt you down the road.
He's right, y'all.
Like you,
Yeah,
I've been
it's
in this for a while. We just celebrated our
yeah.
17th year at CrossFit Moncton,
Dude,
and
that's
I'm a dinosaur now in the CrossFit space. So I've seen it all, and I've seen gyms come and go. They try these flashy things. Hey, look at what we're doing now. It's like, cool. We're gonna just keep doing CrossFit, eating well, and talking about our words. If you want to join, we're over here.
buddy, that's a major flex. Staying in business is a major flex. Just keep doing the same thing that works. Okay, got to get to what works. Dial in what works, and then because
Mhm.
that's two different things. There's two different stories. Building momentum, that's a particular thing, and then sustaining momentum. Those are two different things. Those are two different things. And Adam and I talk about this a lot. Is, hey, what are those guys over in Ellipsa doing? Certifying coaches.
Same
Same
thing.
thing.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep.
Certifying coaches. And once I deliver the first 100, um, I'm done teaching directly. And then we're going to go into education.
That would be awesome. Imagine taking in
That's
high school, taking and lifted 101.
my favorite Einstein quotes is intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. What do you think Barbie's doing right now? If you had to guess, she's either
Well,
in
she's
Dublin drinking a Guinness or hiking a very tall mountain or giving a keynote speech.
I'd say she's listening to this podcast
You think,
wherever she is.
good dude?
There's a good chance.
Yeah, that's some spooky timeline shit right there.
Yeah, man. Mark, are we getting you on for episode 5?
Let's do how about this for the topic?
We got a
New
topic. We're
Year
not just coming in blind.
no. New Year's because I'm thinking time frame.
Yep.
You know, we got a rhythm.
You write this down.
Um, New Year's resolutions versus New Year's questions.
Mm,
And here's a spoiler alert, everybody. Kindlin's Law.
this is a good one. Listen
This
up,
is a,
folks.
yeah. Kindlin's Law. Any question sufficiently worded and written down is half answered. And what we did this past year is we internally and externally, a number of times externally, we ran New Year's questions workshops in the first part of 2025. And the first main reason is New Year's resolution. Nobody's talking about New Year's resolutions in July. Nobody's talking about their New Year's resolutions in June. Did you hear anybody talking about their New Year's resolutions in May, Kevin, this year?
Zero.
How about April? Let's keep going.
No.
March,
Maybe one.
February,
A handful.
and then so most we went from one to handful to they don't make it out of January. 90% of the time I'm making that number up and it's not completely off. It might be spot the fuck on. You got about a month. You got about a month because
Yep.
most people set their New Year's resolutions a few days after a stiff hangover and 3 weeks of gluttony. Questions, on the other hand, New Year's questions. So let's do a New Year's questions podcast. When you want to do that before the holidays?
Yeah, we have
Right
to.
after?
Yeah. Set it up so that people are
Okay.
primed for success before the hangovers.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's get it on the calendar. I'm pulled up my calendar now, and then we're either going to do it on that date or reschedule somewhere close.
Cool. Man, that's coming up. That's like we're already in the second half of the
Dude,
year
but
now.
what the fuck?
That's nuts.
Duh. December 18th,
Yep. Perfect.
9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Perfect.
Cool.
I'll have to convert that to Atlantic Standard Time.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even know there was another time zone up there. The things
Teaching the
I
world
don't
new
know.
things.
Yeah, learning new things.
What do you got on the go for this weekend?
Oh, that's fun. Let's see. I'm gonna cook some breakfast and cruise into Richmond. Um, do some errands, come back tomorrow. So our farm, it's it was founded in 1847. We've had it for 29 years. 1847. This guy, the Raglins, owned it for most of that. Um, and I forget the guy's first name. He's 90 years old. Ragland. He grew up here. He's bringing his children and his grandchildren because the clock's ticking. And he's bringing his children and grandchildren tomorrow in the afternoon to tour the place. And I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna hang out and listen to those stories. Um, Sunday, a buddy of mine from Bangkok and his son and Adam and Vander are coming over, and we're gonna go shoot. We've got a range down at the bottom. So
Target or skeet?
target.
Nice. I
Yeah.
tried skeet shooting for the first time 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago.
What'd you think? How'd you do?
Amazing. And the guy that I went with, he goes, "Fuck, you're a natural, dude." The first three, I hit the first two out of three. First time ever firing a shotgun. Never fired a shotgun
Really
in my life. And he goes, "You got good tracking." So yeah,
nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a whole other kind of. Brandon Powell, he's big into skeet shooting. Um, and then Monday down to Virginia Beach, more work with Kim and Adam, and then yeah, and then having a party next weekend. Not 2 weekend. Yeah, this weekend, 2 weekends, 2 weekends from this weekend. Have about 20 people here for the weekend, and then I'm gonna go on a cross country road trip with little mama.
let's go.
Yeah, so good, fun stuff, man.
Right on.
And putting out slinging certs, going on podcasts. answering
When
emails.
when's the next opening coming up for certifications for anyone listening that may want to get in on that?
When does this drop?
This will be mm, mid beginning mid August.
Oh, that's perfect timing. Okay. Going to our website now.
Got to get Adam's episode out first.
Yeah, dude, that guy's so cool. Okay. Mid-September, level 1.
I could have predicted that. It's usually
Yeah.
a good time to start things.
Yeah.
It's
It's all
usually when
all
people
in
start at the gym.
it's all in September.
Yeah,
Tuesdays, we have one starting on Tuesday and uh, Tuesday 6 to 8 p.m. EST. One starting on Wednesday 3 to 5, and then Wednesday 3 to 5.
cool. If anyone listening wants more info, just message me, Rachel Nevers, Barbie Fagan. Go
Yeah.
on the Enlifted Instagram, message them there. I'm sure they'd love to have a chat and figure out what's going on.
How many times did we mention Barbie?
Doesn't matter.
At least 6. It's good.
She's the
It's good.
bomb, man,
Yep.
for sure.
Certified.
All right,
All
Mark.
right.
It's been a pleasure as always.
Not bad. Not bad story.
Can't wait
Good
to hear
story.
what the next story will be.
Dude, yeah.
I'm sure there'll be another one.
There will be. There will be.
Yeah, there always
Kevin,
is.
Great job building this podcast into what it is.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
I was telling Mark before we started recording, he was asking about like metrics and stuff and like, how many listeners do you have? And I was like, I don't check because I don't give a shit. It does not matter to me. I'm doing this 100% for selfish reasons. And it's to be able to connect with other people, to learn lessons, and to share those lessons with my own personal people that are in my life. So, could be 50, could be 500, somewhere in there.
Or more.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. At the very latest, I'll see you in December.
Sounds good. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest episodes, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.